serial child groper, creepy UAL harasser, and former Vice President Joe Biden is moving towards a 2020 run, according to reports from the Associated Press. Josh Lederman. The possibility was again broached of a potential 2020 presidential bid for Biden during a recent gathering of longtime foreign policy aides at the Munich Security Conference. As Foreign Policy's Robbie Gramer reported, Biden stole the show when he was welcomed with open arms by European leaders, with an air of 2020 swirling around him. Recently, as Biden huddled with his leftist cronies on his newly opened office steps from the U.S. Capitol, Biden began a planning meeting for his new diplomacy center by addressing the elephant in the room. It was there that Biden himself claimed he was keeping his 2020 options open, as it became obvious to all that he was considering a presidential run in 2020 as a real possibility. Though he insisted he had made no decision and didn't need to yet, according to 5 people who either attended the meeting or were briefed on it by those who did. Lederman's app report states of Biden's intentions to run against current President Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. A former Vice President Joe Biden is tiptoeing toward a potential run in 2020, even broaching the possibility during a recent gathering of longtime foreign policy aides. Huddled in his newly opened office steps from the U.S. Capitol, Biden began a planning meeting for his new diplomacy center by addressing the elephant in the room. He said he was keeping his 2020 options open, considering it a real possibility. He insisted he had made no decision and didn't need to yet, according to 5 people who either attended the meeting or were briefed on it by those who did. A presidential candidate twice before, Biden would be 78 on Inauguration Day if elected in 2020, a concerning prospect for some Democrats even though he's only a few years older than Trump. One possibility that Biden's longtime advisors have discussed privately is that he could announce his intention to serve only one term, clearing the path for his running mate to take over in 2024 and potentially setting up Democrats for a 12-year White House stretch. While Democrats and leftists are extolling the virtues of creepy Uncle Joe, it seems they also clearly have short memories. Take a trip down memory lane with me, if you will, back to 1987, to the last time Biden actually tried to run in a presidential election. It was the lead-up to the 1988 presidential run, and Biden, the then presidential candidate, was accused of plagiarizing a speech British Labour Party Neil Kinnock delivered just 4 months prior. Kinnock's speech included the following lines: "Why am I the first Kinnock in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?" Pointing to his wife in the answer. "Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university? Was it because all our predecessors were thick?" While Biden said in his speech just 4 months later, "I started thinking as I was coming over here, why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?" Pointing to his wife in the answer. "Why is it that my wife, who is sitting out there in the answer, is the first in her family to ever go to college? Is it because our fathers and mothers were not bright? Is it because I'm the first Biden in 1,000 generations to get a college and a graduate degree that I was smarter than the rest?" As the scandal broke, creepy Uncle Joe was forced to withdraw his name from consideration for the 1988 presidential bid after Maureen Dowd of the New York Times exposed his plagiarized speech. You know, back when the New York Times actually reported on the news rather than merely taking sides with a favored political party and spewing propaganda and what they are told to say. After Dowd's story broke, allegations then followed hot on its heels of Biden lifting bits and pieces of other speeches from the likes of Hubert Humphrey, Robert Kennedy, and JFK, among other notable names and American leaders. This is in addition to prior accusations of plagiarism that continue to dog him from his law school days that emerged at roughly the same time. Within weeks, Biden chose to withdraw his name from consideration for the 1988 presidential bid, yet it seems many on the left are considering the serial groper and professed stealer of words for the highest office in the country at an advanced age no less. With all of the many qualified and intelligent people in this country, it seems literally the best the Democratic Party can do is an old man that talks too much with words not his own, that cannot keep his hands to himself. A serial rapist, Bill Clinton, his enabler and compromiser of American national security, Hillary Clinton, and a man that hates America and all that she stands for with every fiber of his being, Obama. Then, of course, there are the hordes of bumbling idiots that no thinking person would ever even consider as someone they would trust to tie their shoes, like Frederica Wilson, Sheila Jackson Lee, Nancy Pelosi, and Mad Maxine Waters. But then I suppose those that support cultural Marxism and communist philosophies have never been what any thinking person would consider as smart. For the web powered by Zergnet, this figure skating move was too provocative for the Olympics. Olympic figure skater handles wardrobe malfunction perfectly. The real reason you don't hear about LeAnn Rimes anymore. Donald Trump's bizarre hairdo finally explains. Snowboarder breaks his neck in terrifying crash at Olympics. Here's who Jackie Kennedy thought had her husband killed.